Hey friend, what's going on? And welcome back. Today, what am I talking about? So, if you have been following me, you know that this channel is about self leadership, wellness, and lifestyle and wellness. And last year, I decided to run my first marathon in 2026. So, I want to talk about that, the why behind it, and what I've done so far. So, first, I have I ran multiple half marathons prior. And before I get into that, let me go back to why running became my fuel. So, this was 2010, and during that time, your girl was going through a lot mentally. Okay, when I say a lot, like a lot to the point where I thought I was like going insane. Seriously, I thought I was like losing who I was because of life, parenting. At the time, I had two kids. Y'all, this daggone lighting just don't want to act right today, okay? So let me see if I can pull it, put it right here. Maybe this is better. I don't know. But so as I was saying, life was just happening for me during that time, and I was still on active duty, so that stress was still high like a kite, okay? And my daughter was about 5, and my son was about 6 months to 8 months of age. And for someone who is ambitious, who is driven, who's the go-getter, friend, life was like, not even like, my body was like, break. Like, we need a pause. We need a mental pause. We need to physically like pause. And even as I was going through that, from being hospitalized, vertigo experience, which I never experienced, which I share in my book as well. Let me kind of share right here. And from that to anxiety and the rapid thoughts that were occurring in my head, and I needed an outlet because I was like, this is not me. I don't like this experience. Why am I feeling this way? A lot of questions. Plus, I was still a mom breastfeeding. Again, you can dive into this to learn more. And what I realized, because the noise was getting louder and louder in my head, and I needed to quiet those voices, or the noise, because it was my voice, but quiet the chatter that I was generating internally. And I decided to, I would run here and there because we would do, like, we had our annual PT test, but also I served in the Air Force, and we would have like our regular squadron PT, meaning that with the organization, we will run or do some type of physical activity 3 times a week minimum. And it's not until that life experience is where I really, really decided to make running my thing. Okay. And when I did that, I fell more in love with running. And when I decided to run, like, for me, running was my escape from the noise, also from just kind of disconnecting from the family and being by myself. And while I'm running outside, looking at the trees and self-talking, because sometimes when I'm running, I'm like, let's go, like, I'm literally talking to myself while I'm running, because I feel like that is so healthy for you to just release those thoughts. And sometimes while I was running, tears would be flowing down my face, because again, life, all the things were happening. But because I decided to run that shifted my mindset. It shifted my anxiety level. You know, every time I would feel anxious or stress or all, like, I just needed to like step away from parenting, running. And sometimes I will take my dog Bella, who is no longer here with us, for the run with me. And y'all, and she was a little dog mixed with poodle and Shih Tzu, but she was more on the Shih Tzu side. But she looked like she had that, you know, certain features, but beautiful brown, you know, beige color. Loved her. We got her from the shelter when my son was about 11 months of age. Actually, maybe 10, because he was going on. We got her in March, and then he turned 1 in June. So do the math. And, you know, I would run with her because at that time I was dealing with, you know, anxiety and different things. And I would have to pick her up sometimes because she would get so like tired, and, you know, she's like, so I would have to pick her up, and I'm running with Bella. But that was my outlet. And I signed up for a 5K, and this was in Virginia. And I signed up for my first 5K, and then it was a 10K, and it's like, okay. And even while I was running, y'all, my thoughts were just like firing. But then it will calm down. And that, because I will have my music playing. And after getting a taste of just running, and I noticed that when I run, I felt so much better. So I decided to do a half marathon. Okay. So I did my first marathon. I believe it was in North Dakota. Was my first, or was it Virginia? I did the 10K in Virginia. I'm trying to remember. And then I went from that to a half marathon. And I was like, could I do this? Could I run a half marathon? And I did, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, okay, I like this. And then I did another one, and then I did one while I was in Portugal. And y'all, it was a lot of hill, but then I would train, and I would do, you know, run 10 miles, you know, straight. And for me, I can run long distance if I have great music. And sometimes if my music is gone, I'm running, but I'm self-talking, I'm motivating myself. And then I did another half marathon in Tampa. It was in Tampa. It was at Eglin. What was the base? No, I'm sorry, Tyndall. I'm getting my bases mixed up. It was at Tyndall. So Panama City. I did a half marathon while I was there for training. And let me share a quick story. So this half marathon, I signed up for. I was there for training. I was there for about 5 weeks, and I said, okay, while I'm here, why not? So I would be training, training after class. I would be going to the beach, you know, running on the beach, because they had a beautiful beach right on the base that you can, you know, walk to and run. And I would run there, and I was ready. I went out there, did the half marathon, and I finished, and then I passed out. So I was, you know, rushed to the hospital because they said I was dehydrated. I just remember finishing, and then my eyes closing, and then I was up, and then I was back on base in my room. And y'all, when I say I could not walk, my team lead from my class, he came, he was like, what happened? I'm like, I ran. I guess I didn't hydrate enough, and I was I was taken to the hospital, or I was in the ambulance truck or something. I can't fully remember all of it. And but after that, I was like literally crawling around my room because my legs were so tight. They were hurting from running, all the things. So I've done multiple half marathons in Portugal, North Dakota, Florida. I believe I did one in Virginia, Alabama. So I think I've probably done more than I've counted. But anyways, so last year I said, okay, half marathons, I'm good. I can run them. And when I run, I don't stop. Like when I say I don't stop, I don't stop. From start to finish, your girl is running. I don't take gels. I drink, I do, when I'm at the stand, literally, I'm not even like stopping. I'm like moving my legs still because I'm so dedicated to this. So I would just kind of move my legs slowly, or grab the water or grab the Gatorade and drink, pour the water over me while I'm running. And last year I said, you know what? I want to do a full marathon. So why not? So here's what I've done so far. Nothing. Okay. But I'm that person. If I say I'm going to do something, it is going to get done. So where I'm at right now, my goal was to sign up for a full marathon in January. January is gone. We're in February. So my goal is to sign up this month. I want to find my first full marathon that is within driving distance, maybe in Florida, maybe here in Alabama or Georgia or Tennessee, because surrounded areas. But also they have the Air Force Marathon, and I've considered that, where I can go to Ohio. That's in September. It's around my birthday. Why not? But I'm like, that's a lot. Traveling, kids back in school. Do I have the time? Do I have the capacity? And, and the reason I haven't signed up yet, because I have not made it a priority. Okay? I want to do it, but I have not made it a priority. So it goes back into discipline, self-leadership, which I have, but sometimes we slack off because life is happening, y'all. Okay, I have my business. I'm a single parenting a young adult, teenager, and a 6-year-old. So keep me in your prayers, okay? But no, my goal is to do that full marathon, because one, it's something that I want to achieve. It's like on my bucket list. It's like I want to make sure that I check, done. And my daughter was telling me about the hydro events that you can do. That's something that I do want to do, but I want to make sure that I find someone, a partner that I can take with me, whether it's a girlfriend, a guy friend, just to go and just enjoy the experience, but also dominate the challenge, because I love a challenge. But my goal is to complete my first full marathon, and I want to run that marathon without stopping. I know that is a big goal, but I believe I can do it, even if I'm just like slowly moving, because depending on the location, you might have some hills and you just like trotting slowly, but as long as my feet, they're moving, I'm good. But I would love your help. Okay, so usually I run in Aces and New Balance, and I made a mistake. I ran in some Nikes before. I think twice. I'm like, no, never again. For me, when I run in Nikes for a half marathon, friend, my knees throb so bad. The year prior, I used New Balance. Felt amazing. Yes, I had some tension in my knees, my leg, but it wasn't as painful when I wore Nikes. I think because I had more cushion. And then Aces, same thing, like run, good. Those are two really good brands, but I'm looking for some really quality sneakers for my first marathon. So if you have any recommendations of, if you're a runner, if you're not a runner, or like, hey, these are some great running shoes, drop them in the comments. Let me know, because I want to make sure that my feet are protected, because that's a long time running. Okay. But it's just a goal of mine. And for me, running helps me to regulate myself, to reduce my stress, to settle my thoughts. Like, that's why I started running, because it helped me mentally, friend, like no joke. So if you are like, I don't like to run, find the thing that helps you to regulate your mental. And what I've learned about brain science, because that's something that I love learning about, because when I was dealing with all the things of anxiety, parenting, and just the high stress of the military, and not, trying not to lose who I was emotionally, mentally. I wanted to understand what was going on in here, and how while I was running, I felt so much better. And I learned that, exercise really transform your brain connections and how things flows. It opens up your memory bank. Like, it really affects your connections. Like, it helps you to build connections in your brain. And it's a whole, I'm still learning. So I'm not the guru, but I know enough. Okay, and this is what I bring into the work that I do, but also I talk about why I got certified as a neuro coach, in here, neuroeducator, and neuro health, as well, by learn about the Optimind Institute. So yes, but I just wanted to share with you one of my goals for 2026. And last year I took my kids out with me. I did the half marathon, and they did the 5K, and they enjoyed it. And funny story, very quickly before I go. So while because I wanted to be there with my kids. This is our first time doing a 5K together, and I wanted to capture the moment. And there was an announcement saying, like, all marathon runners, like, there's a start, like, we had to start first. But I was like, focused on capturing the moment and starting with my kids. Friend, I was running, and I share a little bit on my story on Instagram last year. And as I was running, I got to a mark, and it said, I think it said like mile 10 or 6. And I was like, can't be. I'm like, I have not been running for this long. Cannot be. Well, because I started with the 5K runners and following, my daughter and, my 6-year-old, and just kind of enjoying the moment. Because again, I am not trying to win a medal. I'm just I just enjoy running. And what happened was I went the 5K route. Meaning, I had to go all the way back. So by this time, I am like about 3 miles in. So I had to go and figure out the starting point. But what I did, I didn't go all the way back. I ran until I got to mile 5, like the marker for the half marathon. And then I started from mile 5 or 6, I can't recall, and I ran. Because by that time, I'm at, I think it was like, I don't know, 9-10 miles in. So yeah, I ran extra miles that day. But lesson learned, show up on time and go with the half marathon runners. But hey, it was an experience. And even after I was done, because I came all the way back, the people who were at the stand, it was like, oh my goodness. It was like, wow, we love your determination to go back and find where you needed to start and meet that goal of the 13.1. And because that's just who I am, when it comes to making sure I do the right thing, even when no one is looking. But stay tuned. I'm going to be sharing more about my half marathon journey. And I'm going to categorize this into the wellness aspect so you can see, and it'll be easier for you to just kind of see my journey. But again, if you have recommendation of sneakers to run in, please drop them in the comments, and tell me why, because I don't want to just buy anything. I want something of quality, and my stomach is growling, so I think it's time for me to grab some food. But again, thank you so much for joining me. This is a place where we talk all things self-leadership, lifestyle, and wellness. And again, if you would love to learn more about me, you want to get my book, Woman Breed, Leading Through Life, Career, and Business While Thriving in Every Season, because this is based on lived experience, my friend. But I want to thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you like and what you would love for me to share more of on this channel. Well, have an amazing day and see you soon.